What can AI do for you? That's our Techstination. Joining us from Microsoft is the Global Head of Marketing for Search and AI, Divya Kumar. Hi, Divya.
Hi, Fred. Thanks so much for having me.
Well, a pleasure. So AI seems to be in the news every day, and there seems to be a fair amount of confusion about it. Is it good? Is it bad? Lots of questions. Microsoft has a pretty big stake in OpenAI, maker of ChatGPT, and is bringing the technology to consumers. Give us the overview.
Happy to. Gosh, there is a lot going on in the space of AI. And we're incredibly grateful to be able to actually deliver true, meaningful consumer value, leveraging all of the new technology that's coming up with the incredible power of AI. On Feb 7th, we announced leveraging some of the greatest of the latest GPT technology coming out with a partnership with OpenAI, infused with Microsoft technology and search. The new Bing experience. So Bing has already been a search engine that's been in the market, but we've essentially been able to take some of that AI and use it as an underlying model for Bing and essentially reinvent what search is capable of with AI. We've introduced chat into it. We've enabled search to be a lot more accommodating of human speak, shall we say, as opposed to how we're used to doing search, which is just typing in a few keywords to be able to do search. Now, instead, it processes natural language. You can ask questions exactly as you're thinking it, and Bing can give you a great starting point. It can actually distill the world's information that is on the internet and give you a summary as a great starting point, and then with all of the citations, so you can still do your research, verify your information, and it can also generate net new content for you. And that's really the power of generative AI.
Really interesting. For people who haven't tried this yet, I encourage them to do that. But tell us more about how this can really be useful, maybe some real world examples.
Absolutely. So I think I'll start with maybe even setting context. And a lot of people don't even, I guess, maybe even recognize this, even though search is something that everybody uses every day. About 10 billion queries happen every day through a search engine. And almost half of those queries or search questions go unanswered, because most of the questions like, a website that you want to go to, search is great for that. Or if you want to just find, hey, what's the weather or what's the stock information, search is great for that too. But where search doesn't quite fit, it isn't quite designed to do, is where you have multiple parameters questions. So let's say, example, I'm shopping and I want to say, hey, I want to find the best coffee maker under this price that can fit under, this is the kind of countertop I have. And what the new Bing can do with AI is actually look at all of that different parameters I've given it and give me a response. Because today, if I were to do that, I have to have one tab open for coffee makers under this price, and another tab open and another search for, okay, coffee makers of this size, and so on. So you could almost, I already have like 5 tabs open to do the research. I can do all of that in a single search with the new Bing. And that's just one example. You can see how we could do that for travel, where I'm asking multiple questions and it's a great starting point. And even more incredible is that I can now chat with my search engine. So now that Bing's given me an answer, I can just do a follow-up question and be like, okay, that particular coffee maker sounds great. Tell me more about the specifications of that. And then Bing just gives me another answer. And then I can ask it more questions on top of it. And I can continue to sort of refine, which is not something that you can do with search or even thought about doing with search. And so that is something Bing allows you to do as well. And I can generate content. So now that, let's say I've done all of this research and I need to convince my husband to buy a very expensive coffee machine, I could just ask Bing to say, hey, now can you summarize this research and make a compelling argument for why we need this coffee machine in my house? And Bing will do that for me, and I'll make a few edits and then I'll send it to my husband to make my convincing argument, right? So again, things that we never thought a search engine could do for us, we can do that. And of course, on top of it, we've also introduced the ability to create images. So now I can even ask Bing to create an image for me to inspire this conversation with my husband for the best coffee machine, and we can go from there.
Wow, I can envision teenagers using it to make the case for a raise in an allowance or something. And some of the concerns people have been around students or other people even using this to write papers, et cetera. How do you address those concerns?
At the end of the day, this is the new Bing is a search engine and it's a tool. And there's a large amount, the human factor is a really important part of that equation, which is we are responsible for how we're using the technology that we have today. And it's a really important conversation to have within families and households as well. And at the end of the day, we need to take responsibility for what it is that we're using for. And then there's also a responsibility to verify the information that you're getting as an output from the search engine, just like you would do today if you were to do a search. If I had to look for the best travel spots to go, say Alaska, I would still do the research that I would need to do, regardless of the number of blue links that I get. I would still have to verify that information that's coming out of Bing, even if I were getting a summary of it.
That's interesting that you say that to verify. I'm sure you saw as well a 60 Minutes episode with Scott Pelley, and in this instance, Google was on, and I mean, the impression you were left with was that this technology sometimes makes stuff up. So you do need to
check. One of the things that Bing does uniquely is Bing offers citations for all of the sources that Bing pulls content from. So again, something that is very unique to Bing is that not only is it using the latest and greatest technology from OpenAI, but it's infused with Microsoft, grounded in Microsoft search technology. So it's actually pulling in information that is available today on the internet, and it's giving you citations. So when you get a summarized answer, you actually see at the bottom of the answer all of the places and the sources that the information is being pulled from. And that's kind of where I go back to the verifying piece is very important, but we give you a way to be able to verify that content as well.
So, you know, there have been calls from some pretty big names in tech to slow down or pause the development here. What's the view at Microsoft about that?
We think AI is an incredible and powerful technology. It is still an emergent technology, and that is why we think there is a lot of consumer opportunity that AI can help us address, and that we have to do it in a responsible way. And this is why responsible, safeguards and all of that is not an afterthought. These are things that Microsoft has worked closely with OpenAI as well. And we have a team of people focused on bringing AI responsibly to market as a foundational element of how we design our products. So we do think there's an aspect of how we need to be thoughtful and measured in terms of how we roll this out, which is why we actually rolled it out as a preview. And we're letting people in a measured pace and taking feedback so that we are being responsible in terms of how we're introducing this technology to the market.
So what is the real promise of AI and the way it's going to change all of our lives at home and at work?
I'm going to preface that by saying I think we've barely scratched the surface. But what we think AI can do, and we believe AI can do, is that it's a huge time-saving mechanism, right? It takes out the drudgery of what you don't want to do in your everyday search experience, or whether it's writing a document. And there's a lot of things that AI can just sort of take the burden so that you can enjoy more of what you really want to do. So it introduces efficiencies, it introduces time savings, it makes you just more productive, but also gives you a way to pursue something you're really passionate about by not letting you maybe worry about the things that are less fun in the things that you do, just like having, like staring at a blank screen and having a writer's block, where now I can start to create content with a simple prompt saying, hey, write content about volcano, and it would just give me a great starting point that I might not have had, and I might have just stayed staring at that screen for a few hours.
Very interesting. So for people who do want to give this a try, you mentioned rolling this out in a measured way. What should they be doing? How can they do it?
Well, I'd encourage everybody to go to bing.com. There are a few test queries that they can actually start to try to play with. gives you examples of scenarios of the kind of things that you can do, like help me plan a meal planning for a 5-day week, if with vegetarian ingredients, or help me shop for something, or help me plan travel. So there are some fun queries that we've put on Bing that people can kind of start to think about, oh my gosh, these are the different ways that I can actually try the new search engine. And then you can sign up for the new Bing. And, we have a wait list and we're letting people in slowly, but that's a great starting point. So go to bing.com, sign up for the wait list, and you will get an email from us.
As we like to say in the business, stay tuned. There's much more
That's right.
to come. Divya Kumar, thank you so much for spending time with us.
Thank you, Fred, so much for having us.